Oh my, it's Kelly White.
Hey, it's James and Kellee.
What are you up to?
Thinking about changing the world.
Me too. We should do a show together.
What would it be about?
Let me show you.
The James and Kellee Show. Yay! Hi, James.
Hi, Kelly.
How are you doing?
I'm good, honey. How are you doing?
I'm good. I like us both in this like cream color. Since
Yes.
we're going to be talking about mantras today, it's kind of, brings me back to visiting gurus.
Same. I once visited a guru in West Hollywood years and years ago when it was during the AIDS crisis, and I remember I was working for APLA. I helped to form APLA, and there's a lady there named Guru Ma. There were maybe a couple, but this Guru Ma was from Brooklyn. Did you know her?
I
Very
knew
different than the other Guru
different
Ma.
Ma.
But she was such a Brooklynite, New Yorker. And it shows how interesting it is because I just can't. The Guru thing for me is not my thing, but
Yeah.
whatever. So they said, "Have you been?" I walked to this house in West Hollywood, and everyone's full with in the hallways are full with people. Said, has Mom named you yet? Has she named you? I said, no, my mom named me James. No, no,
That's
I haven't made another
hysterical.
name. So anyway, so yeah, after a while, we sat down in the living room, I guess, and they had a chair for her and higher than us, and I was in the very first row. And she came in. She was this Brooklyn Jewish lady I grew up with. So and they wanted her to meet me, and I'm sitting there with everybody else. And I was upset that we were lower than she was. We should have the same level.
Yeah.
So she said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm a medium." She goes, "Oh, I'm a large." I said, I've heard that before.
Yeah.
They wanted something to happen. I said, "Okay," and she was just kind of making not fun, but made jokes about mediumship. And so I said, "Okay, that's enough. I'm leaving. Bye bye. You should sit down here with the rest of them." And they left the room.
I had a similar experience.
Did you?
I had a similar experience with that. Yes. This one was from India, but it's kind of similar situation. Yeah. But what I did learn was how to meditate. Really taught me really some good practice of meditation. So that was
Oh,
worth the price of admission.
exactly.
And it
Right.
seemed like it was a big price at the time.
Well, tonight we can talk about mantras. Which first you want to talk about astrology, though, which is going because
Yes.
it's an intense energy. A lot
Oh,
of people I've heard are leaving quick, and fast passings. By the way,
well,
so
what about Bob Dole?
yes, that was
He
fast.
passed, and really felt that it would have taken an eclipse for him to move to exit. You know, this is continues to be a powerful time because now that both eclipses have passed, we're going to feel the energy for 6 months. But this month of December, we're really going to feel it. And right now, some people might feel anxious or depressed because there's a void when there's an eclipse. After an eclipse, there's a void period. And the void is where you're letting go and releasing and welcoming in the new. And it's like a void. And if you can get comfortable with this void period, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. It's actually this void is needed to create space. And this
Mhm.
space is what we're going to use going forward in 2022. So allow yourself that time for this great void.
It's
Now,
changed. Happened.
it's changes that is going to occur. And I think change is good, don't you, James?
I think change is necessary. That's all the
It's
constant we have is
necessary.
change. But I
Absolutely.
also think if we can, I'm seeing my comments and everything. I would love it. You know me. I would love this change for people to think of other people and not
Love it.
themselves, and start thinking about others. Like even tonight, other people.
Yeah.
It's all about others. It's we're in this boat together, all of us, and we got to
Right.
think of one another. It's interesting. I just came from PetSmart buying my doggy treats, and it was very interesting what was going on because I don't know, just lady cut in front and the whole thing. And it's like, oh, and of course I'm thinking, no offense to anybody, but the cat lady, very different than dog people. So I said, she looked at me and said, and she didn't say anything. I said to her, "Oh, it's okay. You can go in front of me. I'll let you do that. That's okay with me. It's more important. That's okay." I don't think she understood, but I said, that's all right.
I've heard you do that before.
But
That's
that's
pretty
it. She was asleep, I think. Walking.
right. Well, you and I are going to do a show at the in a
Yeah.
couple 2 or 3 weeks before the end of the year about 2022,
We have a great, yeah, great show. That's right. It's
and
being
the
awake.
theme for 2022 is going to be exactly about what you said. It's thinking of others, taking care of others, making that kind of transition in the world to raise
It's
everybody's
oneness. It's
consciousness.
oneness.
So
We need one.
oneness.
Yeah.
So you're
Yeah.
right on target with what is going to be happening.
One
So,
person's pain is everyone's pain, and we have to help each other out. And
absolutely. Absolutely. So currently, we're in a really interesting place right now because we have a couple of big things happening.
okay,
The first is we are in the shadow phase of Venus going retrograde in Capricorn for 40 days. 40 days is very significant. Normally, Venus, when it goes retrograde, might be 10 or 12 days, but 40 is an awful lot. So, and it's in Capricorn. So it's going to be reevaluating our values in relationships, but the
so
most
that's
important.
really, let's just stay there because that's a lot,
Okay.
Kelly. We're
Mhm.
gonna digest that one. So Venus and Capricorn retrograde. So in
Mhm.
relationships, could that be kind of a, like I said, reevaluation of people's relationships, but also slowing down or a time to
S-
assess? So
Assess,
don't expect
practice,
your partner just be and just see what you can do together. Time to come together and assess it. Yeah.
and I'm going to talk about some of the things to look out for and then some of the really good aspects of
Okay.
this. So right now we will have 3 unusual times with this Venus retrograde. It's Venus is going to conjunct Pluto. Venus conjunct Pluto means you'll look in the sky and you will see Pluto right next to Venus.
Wow.
Now, Venus is the planet of love and relationships, and Pluto is destruction, it's death, it's transformation. It's going to change the way we have had relationships.
Kelly, is Pluto the hidden planet?
It's the hidden planet, so maybe you won't see this coming. That's why I need to talk about it.
There might be
Particularly,
relationships that are going bye bye and it's hidden or down.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And the big ticket days of this are December 11th, December 18th, and the big one is December 25th,
I knew
Christmas.
you.
Sorry.
Okay with me.
Oh my God. So relationships are going to be tested during
I'm
this
already
period of time.
divorced. It's
You
okay.
you
Never
don't
goes
make me
back.
laugh.
Never
It's
goes
going
back.
to be looking at your family values perhaps differently, or traditions perhaps differently. But I
Okay.
will tell you what
I
it's
should
really.
interrupt you 1 second and ask you this.
Mhm.
Venus in retrograde in Capricorn, could that possibility be also during that time you'll meet someone karmically that you need to meet
Absolutely,
in,
this could bring
in love?
karma. And
With love.
but one good thing about this, there's a couple of really good aspects here. It's a great time if you are constantly choosing in a relationship your trauma bond, if you're constantly choosing the person that, you have trauma, they have trauma, and you've both not worked on your trauma, this is a great time to break that habit. That
Break,
is a bad habit. I
break
used
that
to think,
habit.
James, that, two negatives made a positive. So if two people had traumas, then together they would work that out. That's really not the case. You have to do your
It
own
gets
work.
worse.
It gets worse. It opens up that trauma wound. So this is a time to break trauma bonds. Okay, so this
I
is a
think,
good thing.
my good friend Debbie Ford, who's passed over, used to call the shadow side. And
Yes.
everybody has their shadow
Oh,
sides. And that
please,
shadow
everybody,
side, and now with this Pluto conjunction with Venus, the shadow side of people is going to come out. That's
come
that
out.
Pluto shadow will be there and it'll affect
Yes.
their love lives. Definitely.
And particularly during the shadow time that we're in right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, good point on that. Absolutely.
And
So
surprises, Kelly, right? With
oh,
relationships, real surprises in love relationships.
real surprises. And one of the things you guys have got to watch out, this brings up in people that haven't done the work on themselves, manipulation or guilt tripping. You don't want to do that in a love relationship. You want to let people be. Um, interesting enough, James, do you know I have two famous people that were born with Venus conjunct Pluto? One is Liberace. Was he pretty explosive in relationships?
Yes, he was. Sure.
And isn't that interesting? And the other one is the famous artist Frida Kahlo.
Oh, Frida. Yes. Mexican
Mhm.
lady. Yes.
Yeah, beautiful artist.
Beautiful. Don't know much
Uh,
about her personal life, but and I know this is
I think there was a lot to it.
yeah, I think there was. think
I
it was.
think there was a lot to it.
There's a lot
So,
of drama there. Wow.
and then for long-term couples that are in healthy relationships, this is a great time to make all kinds of plans. This is a great time with Capricorn, and also James, Pluto's in Capricorn. So imagine that kind of Plutonian Capricorn Saturn energy.
And a good time for them to redo their wedding vows or partners or their assessment with each other and partnerships with each other or look
It's
to the future together also.
Yeah,
Possibilities.
probably not until about February 1st
Okay.
because this Mercury or this Venus retrograde goes until January 29th, I think.
What assessment, Kelly? Huh? Assessment.
Assessment of it. And
Yeah.
then once it goes direct, really make those vows again. Yeah. Go do your work. This is a great time to do your inner work. So somebody says, Frida and that man she married, woo, talk about toxic. Yes.
So what does
Yes.
that mean if you are a Capricorn?
If you're a Capricorn, you're probably going to be doing a lot of work on yourself, a lot of reassessment on yourself in terms of relationships and in terms of the shadow side of yourself.
And Capricorn is also karmic. It's a karmic lesson. It's a major karmic.
Totally karmic. Saturn. Yeah.
A lot of these relationships that we're in, most of them are karmic. So you'll
Yeah.
be seeing a lot of bumps or ups and
Mhm.
a lot of learning, a lot of
A lot of learning.
learning. Don't judge it. A lot of
Right.
learning. There's not.
Exactly.
It's just it is what it is, and that's all that it is, right?
Yeah. Exactly. So there you go. We'll talk more
Thanks.
next week about
Thanks.
things.
Well, it's so great to hear your
You're
astrology.
welcome.
3 years now, still, Kelly. God, every time I love talking to you, Kelly, I feel like I just want to
Sorry.
go somewhere else.
You're welcome.
We're going to be doing a new opening for the show,
Mhm.
and I'm coming down with it's funny, Astrology Way Awareness Avenue. So
I love it. Awareness Avenue.
Awareness Avenue.
Astrology way.
Yeah, Kelly
Perfect.
and I are going to be in a car driving because we've done that before, and it's an
Oh,
interesting.
please.
Kelly's a great driver,
Oh.
so not really. So that'll be we'll portray our trip we went.
We're always late wherever we get to.
Yeah, it's fun. You have a good time though.
We have a great time.
So tonight we have an interesting show. Is it all there is about astrology? That's what we should
That's
look at.
it for right now.
That's
That's
enough.
plenty.
That's plenty. So then we'll talk about mantras, and our producer Renee really knows a lot more than I do about mantras. Kelly, you know a little bit about mantras.
A little bit because I worked with the guru, but Renee is the
Thanks
expert.
So we're going to invite Renee in to tell everybody about mantras. Well, welcome,
And we
Renee.
should tell everybody about Renee's background.
Yes, yes,
Hi.
his background. Go right ahead, Kelly.
Well, Renee works with Deepak Chopra.
For how many years now? Over 10, 15 years, Deepak?
Yeah, 12, 13 years now, yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And tell us your background, Renee. Originally from Holland. We know you're a doctor.
Yes, I was. I moved in 2008 to the United States, and before that, I lived in the Netherlands and I lived in Belgium, and I was a podiatrist. Yeah, so I have a totally different career when I moved to the US. I became.
Excuse me, you're a Pisces. Rules of feet. Sorry.
I am.
Yeah.
So true.
I am. Yes, my birthday is March 11th, Pisces, correct. Yeah, so I made a huge, like many of us do in our lifetime, right? You just, something doesn't feel quite right, and for me it was like, the doctor's path. It was not fulfilling anymore, and I was missing something. And I didn't know what it was until I went to one of Deepak Chopra's events. My mother actually sent me, and I didn't even want to go. I was like, it's spiritual stuff. Come on, But the thing is that once I dove into it and I opened my heart right to the teachings, I'm like, oh my gosh, there is so much value here. How is it possible that I've never seen this? And it opened myself up completely. And then as synchronicity has it, I met my wife at the Chopra Center.
Oh wow!
And then, and then when I moved to the United States, I actually helped out as a volunteer in the beginning for the Chopra events, the live events, and then interestingly enough, that the person who did all the audiovisual at the time, he fell in love at one of our events with a lady from Spain, and he was like, I'm out. And then the Chopra Center had no audiovisual guy, and so they asked me and said, can you do this? I'm like, I don't know, but I learned something about, embracing uncertainty, step into the field of infinite possibilities and be open. So all these terms that I was very unfamiliar with, but then at that time I learned a lot about it. And I'm like, all right, I'll step into this field of infinite possibilities. And I jumped in head first, and I learned real quick. And and I've been doing all his live events ever since. And it's been an incredible blessing. Of course, with COVID, I had to change my careers a little bit because the live events weren't there. So I moved into hosting online events and StreamYards. And that's when I had the blessing and the good fortune to meet the two of you. And now I'm doing a lot of background work for the two of you. I'm hosting your show.
We met the Chopra Center many, many years ago when you were still the AV guy there, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
And now I live about 2 blocks from where we met, living in Encinitas. So funny.
Yes, we've been neighbors, pretty much neighbors for many years. Yeah, that's so cool. So cool. Yeah, but coming back to the topic of the mantras, of course, because I did the teacher trainings at the Chopra Center, and I visited also many other teachers. And at the Chopra Center, Chopra offers a mantra-based meditation.
Yes.
And I was like, whoa, what in the world is a mantra, right? So, and that's the topic of today. And what it really means is mantra. You can split that up in 2 different parts. Man is from manas, is from the old Sanskrit term. Manas means mind, and tra means tool or vehicle.
Oh, wow.
So it's a mind vehicle or a mind tool.
Interesting.
And
it's great.
As many of our listeners and viewers probably know, because I know that a lot among you who are watching YouTube meditate, have a meditation practice. So a lot of you probably know what a mantra does and how it works. But, I think it's helpful maybe to also discuss today, like, how does that work? How do you use it? And what can you use it for? Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I can elaborate a little bit more if you want about.
You're just curious about a mantra, and a mantra can be any phrase, if you will, or any sound, right? That really resonates within you, and it can take you into, I guess you'd say, a journey or deeper spaces of concentration, right? And just focusing. Would you say would be it? So the breath and the mantra, repeating that mantra over and over again, kind of brings you into another kind of space, I guess, an altered state of consciousness sometimes, certain space.
Yeah.
We go there in all different ways, but a mantra I found when I was first beginning, my mantra was a visual mantra, and my visual was a rose, and the rose would open up every time I'd sit in a circle. I'd visualize that rose opening up and same person. So that was my mantra. Yeah, it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And Deepak, when I was with Deepak back in the center, they gave me, or he gave me, or someone there gave me my own personal mantra.
Mm-hmm.
How did that work, Renee? How does that work?
Yeah, that's what I did for years there. I've been teaching meditation for years at the center, and I gave people mantras. I gave hundreds and hundreds of mantras to people.
And how did you get to their mantra? How did you know which was their mantra?
Well, the Chopra Center's mantra is called the primordial sound mantra. It's a very specific mantra. And again, you have thousands and thousands of mantra, and all of them are good. Right? It's not one is better than the other. It's just that the lineage where Deepak comes from is from the Vedic tradition. And he met with his teacher, his guru in India, and he did a lot of research about, like, how can I bring the meditation to the West and use a simple tool for people to help with, with their anxiety, with their stress, with all depression, with PTSD, with all these things. How can I help? And in an easy way. And he said, he learned to use the primordial sound meditation, and that is actually based on your birthday and the location of your birth, where you were born. And why is that? That's because when you trace that back, as we know, and as the two of you always talk about, the universe is energy, right? It's an ever-changing energy field. It's a vibration. So the moment you came into existence, into this world, there was a certain vibration and certain energy, a certain primordial sound. Now, there is a calculation attached to this, and there is a formula attached to this. But in the Vedic tradition, what they did, and this goes back thousands of years ago, is they calculated the sound that the universe was making at the moment you were born. That is a given, and that becomes your mantra, your primordial sound mantra. It's pretty cool, because basically, when you start your meditation process, well, first of all, the reason why we use a mantra is because, as many of you know, the viewers, probably too, that when you start to meditate and you start to sit like this, and like, okay, I'm going to meditate. Now you sit here, and then you wait, and you say like, I want a cup of coffee.
Yeah, the monkey mind.
I've got groceries.
Yeah.
And you're like, how long have I been meditating? So you have all these questions, and all these thoughts come up, these random thoughts, they come out of nowhere. We're all aware of that, right? It drives us sometimes crazy too, because it's too much. And if you have a lot of negative thoughts, and which is, understandable, because the world, as you both always say, it's not an easy place to live in. So, but if the tendency is to have more negative thoughts than positive thoughts, we can slowly move into depression. We can slowly move into anxiety. And now a lot of people who are very caught up with all that, they reach out to places like, like you, James, like you, Kelly, like, what can I do? I'm depressed. And also the Chakra Center and many other places. And then now the mantra, it comes in very handy right there, because when you go into your meditation practice and you have, of course, this train of thoughts, it's unstoppable, nor do you have to try to stop it. That's impossible. What you do is you introduce this mantra. Why? Because then your mind has something to land on. So we'll do at the end a short meditation, a Soham meditation. And that's Soham.
Let me interrupt you if I could. Excuse me. I know a lot of these people are watching right now and doing this and thinking, how can I find my own mantra, and where would I go to do that? I don't think the Chopra Center does that anymore. Are there places that you know of that would do that for people?
Yeah, well, the Chopra Center actually does it online. So they have an online version now. Perfect. So yeah, if you go to chopra.com, you can do that. And you can
everybody that wants that, I knew people were asking that.
Yeah, for sure.
I was given one. I remember I was given one. And it was a big ceremony too when it was happening.
Yeah, there's a whole ceremony. But basically...
that's after I walked into Deepak's office with him after a big lecture that time I met you. And it's hundreds of books he's written. And I said, Deepak, this is we were reading for him, we were chatting about some stuff. I said, Deepak, do you realize how you've changed? This is how down to earth this man is. You've changed the world. Look at the books of how you've changed the world and opened people up. He said, would you mind if I go use the bathroom? I said, sure. Very down to earth, very real. Very real.
I see that Stormy, she says, I think this is yours, James, like healthy am I, happy am I, holy am I, right?
Yeah.
That's perfect answer. Oh, look, you have it.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I have it cups and I have it in notepads and all my students get this in my graduate.
And I have this. I got the cup.
And that came to me years ago. Spirit gave me that. Spirit gave me that.
I love it.
10 years, 12 years ago.
And that's an affirmation. Healthy am I? That's an affirmation. And I should point out there's a difference between an affirmation and a mantra. A mantra really goes back to some very sacred roots.
Sure. And Sanskrit and Vedic.
Yeah. The mantra is really to help quiet down the thoughts in the mind. Okay. Right? That's what the purpose of the mantra is, to just create, you could say, a pattern interrupt. Right? Rather than following these endless train of thought, which we all have, unavoidable. But what you want to do with the meditation is to quiet down these thoughts, to slow down, and for the mind to land on something. Your mantra can be very helpful, because what you do is you silently and effortlessly repeat this mantra over and over and over again. And then when your mind drifts away, which it will, to other thoughts, or to sensations, or to feelings, or perceptions, you notice that's fine. But what you do is you effortlessly bring your mind back to your mantra. And this dance you do over and over again. And eventually it becomes easier for the mind to rest on the mantra. And what then happens is you have brainwave coherence, your body starts to heal, your heart rate slows down, your immune system boosts, but it is all over time. This takes
Sure.
some getting used to and practice. Yeah.
Renee, I read that it actually boosts the production of nitrous oxide in the body.
Oh,
Yeah, it does. It is unbelievable. And also when people want to do some research, yeah, there's
yeah.
lots of studies now too. I see that Missy says, is this the same as TM? TM is transcendental meditation. He's Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. Many of you probably know him. He brought meditation to the West. He had the Beatles and, all these famous people, Ram Dass, they all were with the TM. Deepak comes from the TM too. But this is a little bit different than the TM meditation. But TM is also a beautiful
And you're
organization.
gonna share with us the end of tonight. You're gonna share a mantra meditation for everybody here tonight. So Renee's gonna do that before we end this evening. So make sure you stay here for that, because that'll be pretty incredible. So you'll come back later, Renee, and do that with
Yeah,
us.
I'll come back later. Well,
Okay.
Thank you,
Thanks, Renee.
Renee.
thank you.
Thank you, Renee.
So interesting.
You know,
Chris,
Paul Katz, which is a mantra which I know very well. And Probert worked with that when she was teaching with me, and his is "Be still," which is a great mantra. Be still, be still is a great one. The exhalation, the inhalation. We always inhale 3 breaths, and exhalation should be 2 beats more. It's like exhale 5, in 3, out 5. There you go.
oh yes,
Okay, yes,
that's a wonderful one,
right.
especially for sleep.
Yeah,
Reporting a short mantra over and over again in the mind usually tires out the monkey mind, and before you know it, you're asleep.
yeah, it's great. It's great.
Yeah, wow.
Okay, affirmations and mantras very different.
They're very different. So if we were doing affirmations, like I would, yours is one of my favorites, James. Healthy am I, happy am I, holy am I. I
That's
love this one. And also some other affirmations would be for anxiety. If you had anxiety, and for an affirmation for that would be, this will pass. This will pass. Or how about this one? It's an old favorite. One day at a time.
yes, good one.
And my last one for anxiety is, I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. And
Sure.
I say that often.
Yeah, you know what I use a lot?
What do you use?
It is what it is, and that's all that it is.
Yeah, yeah, it's
It is what
true.
it is. That's all that it is. It is. So we can make
It
it so much
is.
more. And humans can do that. Humans tend to make things so much more than they really are.
Yeah.
And life is really simple, but the human makes it so complex. We're gonna
Oh,
make it so complex. A pen is a pen is a pen. To make it more complex than it is.
sometimes a cigar is just a cigar.
Another one, my friend Marianne, is a famous Buddhist one saying, which is, "You can't push the river.
Oh, I love that one.
You
You
can't push
can't push the river.
the
Yeah,
river."
that's a really good one. And for grounding, a lot of people, if you notice, in the work I do, a lot of people just are not grounded. And so there's some really good grounding ones too. For instance, I am in my body.
Mm,
I am
good.
in my body. Yeah. I am connected to earth.
Or I am part of the earth. Yeah.
I am part of the earth. I am anchored like the roots of a tree, to be, to get in your body. And for depression, I will feel good again. I listen to my body for physical symptoms. I am not my thoughts, for negative self-talk. So there's some
That's a
good ones.
great one. It's a great
Good
one.
affirmation, wonderful affirmations out there, and some wonderful mantras too. I hope that I'm looking forward to Renee telling us about Om, because that's
Yes.
a big one.
Yeah,
Om.
and all the mantras and the different chakra points would have different sounds associated with them. So there could be a mantra. Let's say you're sitting for developing your clairvoyance. There'd be a certain
Hmm.
sound, a chord, musical chord that would associate itself with that. And then, of course, you have singing bowls with with those chakras.
Right, right.
And
Um,
it's
what
great.
what do you think about music for, for
So,
a mantra?
Because I was just thinking of that before you said that, Kelly. So I think we have to. Renee might know a lot more than I do, and he does know more than I do about mantras. But for me, and I think it's true, when you repeat something over and over again, and I love that primordial sound. I love
Yeah.
that. I've never heard that. It's great. Look, so when I got my but I like that. I just think that in a way, it's a focus point. So I think whatever can focus you
Mhm.
back, and if it's repeating something over and over again, which is what a mantra is, and it gets you to that part of focus and gets rid of that monkey mind, that's what the goal is really.
Right.
Um, and I often tell people just go back to your breath. If you find that your mind is going crazy, just go back to the breath, go breathing because you have to breathe, have to breathe.
Right.
You know,
Right.
the best, it's a great one, Kelly. The another affirmation or saying, tomorrow is another day.
Tom-
Scarlet, right? Not
Tomorrow is
weird.
another
Tomorrow
day.
is another day. Right?
That's so true.
Yes.
Um,
So mantra, I think music can be mantras. I think without a doubt. I mean, I
yeah.
find myself repeating a song in my head over and over again, certain lyrics over and over,
Right.
or I have to play the same song over and over again. And it puts me
Right.
in a certain space, of course. Like Renee said, everything's energy. So it
Right.
puts me in a certain space. And I
Right.
like that. I really like that. I find
Right.
that when I drive, I love to listen to music and sing in the car. And I think it's a good way of stilling myself because of what's going on out there with the
Yeah.
cars and traffic and people. And it just centers, they can center us. So
Yeah.
it's centering, grounding us and bringing us into that space.
Yeah. I spent 2020 and most of this year listening to my favorite songs because my favorite songs just kept me in an upbeat place. And I would just listen to them over and over and over. It was very helpful for me. Missy Jade says, I was hoping to ask the question about music grounding people. I find music so grounding. Yeah, it's very grounding.
Yeah,
I
my,
agree.
my go-to is Sonatum Kerr. So she's my mantra.
Oh,
Uh,
that's right.
Kerr is my girl, and she's
Yeah.
lovely Sikh a singer. So she was 3 years of age, and
Wow.
all of her music to me are mantras. I just
Right.
there are phrases in there and lyrics in there that are very much
Right.
mantra, if you will. And
Here's a good question. Leanne Ellis Franklin says, is it more powerful to meditate with others or solo? What do you think, James?
well, I think it's you'll have more energy with people. So that's one thing. There will be more
Yeah.
energy. But also you're it's just I would just say it that way. There's more energy to use, if you will, but that brings with it what kind of energy they have around them. So what are their
Right.
thoughts like? So are they clean? You
Right.
know, I would just say I don't know. So there's more energy, if you will. I know when I'm meditating or I do meditation in a conference, it's a wonderful feeling, and I do get more
Yeah.
energy, no doubt about it. When I love when people are in a group that have one mind. They work with
Oh, that's the best.
one mind is really
Yeah.
powerful. So I like that aspect of it. So I
Right.
think it's great to do a group, but if you can't by yourself, it's fine. Renee.
Well, this is a very interesting topic that this question, because if you can find this online, a study has been done. This was in the 90s, I think, in Washington D.C. in the grassy area in front of the Capitol. There were like 500 to 1,000 meditators. They gathered there and they meditated for like 3 weeks every day. And what they did is they kept track of the violence, the break-ins, burglary, any sort of violence in Washington D.C. And believe it or not, exactly during that period, the statistics of crime, the crime rate was like lower, like 40 to 60%.
Wow.
And that's the power of the collective,
Wow.
meditation. Look it up. Online you can find it, group meditation Washington DC, and you'll see it's very, very powerful meditation.
My thought about for I don't know if I told this. I think that maybe Kelly with you next year. I think next year's gonna be for me personally exciting. Some of these
Yeah,
great things are happening.
I agree.
But my goal is and with some friends too is to bring a oneness awareness, bring that awareness back to people, to everybody. Yeah, so I'm creating behind me, you'll see right behind me here, over here, lots of books on my office. I'm creating a new course for next year, and it's a
Mhm.
couple of courses, but the one's really important right now. Whenever I do books, whenever I'm writing a book or coursework, I really research and develop it and really pull things apart and change things around. So that's what you see behind me. But I'm doing a new course next year called The Game of Life and how to play it,
Mhm.
based on Florence Shin's book in 1930, and it's gonna be good to help people with that, to get back to that sense that we belong together. And
Right.
your thoughts are so powerful, and if people just realize how powerful their thoughts are, I think the world would be a different place. So
And for everybody that grows and changes, it affects other people that grow and change and other people that grow exponentially.
exponentially. Like when I had my near-death experience, I remember when I had
Yeah.
that sense of everybody has a ribbon above their head, like some kind of a ribbon. I was aware of it. And that in the ribbon are the thoughts that you have, whether they're good thoughts, it can be pastel colors or portrayed. And then there's a big tapestry, like a matrix. And I remember that my thoughts go into that tapestry, affecting every single person, every single person. So I can be careful of how I affect every single person. And what am I going
Yes.
to put into that tapestry, that matrix? Because I'm responsible for it.
Right, right.
We bring
And the
those
higher in consciousness that you become, the more aware you need to become too. It's a
completely.
constant. It's not like you get there, oh, and then you're there. It doesn't work that way. It's easy to
Well,
fall off. We're all human here.
you can't go back. Once you get there, you can't go back. As you said, I love those
Right.
shapes. You can't go backwards, right?
Can't go backwards.
You know what you
Nope.
know. You can't unknow something.
So Sue Lopman says, can a mantra interfere with messages from the other side?
I would say no. The mantra, really, the idea of a mantra is to get you to a space where you can
Mhm.
receive messages from the side or have more clarity within yourself. So it shouldn't get in the way. Just it's really for your benefit to get there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I agree with that, James. Um, yeah, there are a lot of statements here. Michelle says that Anita Monjari, the writer, spoke of that ribbon tapestry and how we're all connected and how it affects how we affect one another.
So I, one thing about COVID, I mean, I think it's wonderful in some ways to be at home and the community comes together. But things I miss teaching people, physically being in the classroom teaching
Yeah,
people, and having little chats. So I would meet like Anita, good friend, and other practitioners at little bed and breakfasts or hotels, and would sit and would have a coffee chat. And we discussed
yeah.
that exact topic about when she had her
Wow.
experience, and I had mine about that ribbon effect. She was talking all about that. I miss those
Wow.
sorts of things, those little
Yeah,
chats,
of
spontaneous.
course.
Yeah.
Sharon Diaz says, is there a secret message of why people suffer anxiety? Is it a lesson unlearned?
Kelly.
Well, anxiety is often about something that we can't control in the future. It's futurizing an event, it's fear. And so, is there a secret message about it?
Is there
What are
also
you?
control, Kelly? Is there also
It's
control in there that they
it's
want to control?
control. It's fear of the what's going to happen next instead of living in the moment. And the one thing about meditation is it really puts you in the moment,
Right in the
puts
present.
you right in the present moment. If we are in the present moment, we cannot be anxious. It's not possible, actually.
There's
So,
no past, there's no future. It's just now. The power of now.
no,
It's just the
yeah,
power of now, living in this moment here. The past has already happened.
right,
Future's yet to be. So all you have is
right.
this moment now. Today, my show, my soul care show this morning, you heard someone asked a
Mhm.
question about death. They're afraid of death. How can they,
Yes,
why? I don't understand that. There's anxiety about death. And a lot of people have anxiety about death because I think it's the great unknown and they want to
right,
control, right?
right. It's the great unknown. Absolutely. This is a good question. Sherry Canette says, can you, James, explain on the visual mantras like your rose? I seem to resonate more with that one.
Sure. Everyone's different, right? Everybody's different. So I'm more of a visual, if you will.
Mhm.
I like sound as well, but I'm a very visual person. So for me, the rose was, I don't know how I could put it to you, was given to me in Kelly at the Bodhi Tree bookstore when I used to read books on that Saturday.
Yep.
It was a rose that I would see in my mind's eye when I started meditating. And then I would get deeply into the rose, into the petals of the rose, even down to the dewdrops in the rose. And then
Mm,
I would shrink myself to be in the middle of that rose, just lying there. And that's how I used to work. And I still do that when I do meditation. So that's a great way to do things.
yeah.
I just visualize it. I visualize a lot of my meditations are visual, like when we bring people to the other side. A lot of my courses and meditations, like bringing heaven home, I
Yeah.
do bring them visually to that other world, to the other realms. I'm a very visual person. Everyone's
Mhm.
different. So some people more affected by sounds, some people more visions.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. Um, let's see.
And a lot
What
of people
about?
tell me
Mhm.
about Kelly asking for readings. We're not doing readings
Yeah.
tonight, but I am doing a lot more next year. I'm doing every month.
Yes.
I'm doing 4 different nights. I'm doing 2 nights of mediumship and 2 nights of psychic work. So everybody hold out till January, and we'll start with readings then. But tonight, this isn't about readings here. Okay.
Cassie says, meditate a white light surrounding you, keeping you protected from anything that does not belong to you.
So that's a good one, Cassie. But I used to think that too, and then a healer, a good, very good healer friend of mine said to me, "Well, the white light is good, but you first have to cleanse out what's within you, because white light is good at keeping things from coming to you. But if you have something within you already, some other people's energy or whatever's going on inside, anxiety, trauma, you first need to release that and let that go, get to a neutral space, and then create that white light.
Right.
That
I
makes sense.
agree. Paul Katz has a really good thing here. He says, I think people have anxiety about death because it's very difficult to imagine no consciousness whatsoever, no existence, energy going nowhere. It's incomprehensible and scary. So, of course, people who don't believe our energy goes on are going to be terrified by the idea. Absolutely,
Very true,
Paul.
Paul. Very, very,
Absolutely.
very
Yeah.
true. Exactly right.
Well said.
It's like the same thing, Paul, that people think that, animals or trees, plants have no consciousness.
Right.
It's how could they not? It's the same thing. So, and that's where people need to go within themselves and just have that connection with their own soul, because there's so much within us. We just see the outside skin. There's some more inside of us than we know. I mean, yeah.
So true.
Or the
It's so
journey, and it's a great journey. Self discovery, wonderful.
So Doree McNulty says, can pranayama breathing and meditation help with weight loss efforts?
I don't know why not.
Seems to me that it would. Renee, do you have something to say about that, Renee? About pranayama breathing?
Yeah, pranayama is incredibly powerful. You can use it for a lot of things, but including, well, the most important thing with pranayama, it's kind of the goal, if you will, is kind of the same as with meditation, is creating balance, right? A balance in the mind and in the body and in spirit. Because and pranayama can help with that a lot. So usually when there is an overweight issue or an overeating or undereating, right, both sides of the pendulum, then it's not in balance. So if you start your pranayama technique every day, it literally balances the right hemisphere with the left hemisphere, and it brings your body, mind, and spirit in a more balanced situation. So in that sense, it can, definitely help.
And for those who don't know, what is pranayama breathing? Just for those who don't know exactly what that is.
Yeah, pranayama is basically there are breathing techniques, and there are again hundreds of breathing techniques, and some are invigorating, so they really help you get stronger, and but there's also the other side of things is to calm things down and to calm the nervous system down, to heal. And so there are lots and lots of different techniques that you can do. And many of you probably know that when you breathe very quickly in and out, you can see that you rev things up. And when you exactly, but when you slow down your breath, notice what happens to your body and your mind. It literally, the mind follows the breath. So it's very powerful, very old techniques, but it's amazing.
We do a lot of different breathing in yoga, a lot of different types, different breathing for different things. It's great. Are you going to give us a little meditation, Renee? I think we're just kind of like to.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, be great.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So. Oh wow! No pressure. well, it's been so fun to be with you together on the show and to share a little bit about the history.
Oh gosh, totally.
It's so much fun, and I see all these amazing comments in the background. Of course, I still keep track of what's going on, and so many people are commenting and having amazing questions. And it's too bad that the show can be longer because there's so many unanswered questions. But it shows that people are really interested. So this is great. So what I'm going to do now is I'll lead everybody into a short meditation, a few minutes, and we will use the mantra So-Hum. So-Hum is a widely known mantra. It means I am, or I am that. And this particular mantra is paired with the breath. So a lot of mantras you can just repeat silently and effortlessly. But this one is paired with the breath, which means that when you inhale, you silently say so. And when you exhale, and silently think hum. So hum. And actually, when you listen, you can actually listen that your breath is making that sound. It's very, very interesting.
And do you inhale through your nose and exhale out of your mouth, or is that how you do the breathing?
Yeah, you can do it either way. You can breathe whatever is most effortlessly for you at this moment. But I would recommend breathing into the nose and out to the mouth. But if you want to breathe through your nose, that's totally fine. Yes. So, yeah, the most important thing is make yourself comfortable. So, for those of you who are watching or in the car or whatever, don't get yourself in trouble. So, but get in a comfortable position, okay, and then take a minute or so to really um, calm down. We start with some effortless breathing. You can go ahead and close your eyes, and then we'll start with the breath. And on the inhalation, silently repeat so, and on the exhalation, silently repeat hum. So, hum. Now it's important for you to find your own rhythm, your own pace. And again, sit comfortably. Start just breathing effortlessly. And allow your breathing to be normal and not controlling it in any way. And be aware of the breath, not focusing or concentrating, just simply observing as it naturally flows in and out. And on the inhalation, silently think to yourself, so. And on the exhalation, hum. Let go, relax a little bit more. Let go of any tension in your shoulders, in your back, in your stomach area. Give yourself permission to take a few minutes of just being with yourself. And when you notice, and inevitably it will, that your mind wanders off to thoughts or to feelings or to sensations, simply bring it back to the mantra. So, hum. Now resting even deeper. Rest. Relax. Right now, your heart rate slows down. The immune system is boosting. All your cells in your body start to communicate in a better way, effortlessly. Relax. You might find actually now, you might find or notice a spaciousness inside yourself. An openness. Openness is usually overshadowed by all the doings, the thinkings, the feelings, the actions. But notice that there is also an openness and spaciousness now. Inhale, so. Exhale, hum. Noticing your body quieting down. Trust that right now there is deep healing taking place inside of you. So, hum. I am, which means I am connected with everything in the universe. At the core of my being, I am the universe. Rest even deeper. So, hum. But the stillness that you are aware of now, that you're noticing now, is always present. This field of infinite possibilities is always present in your life. You are an infinite being. It's only the mind that puts up the limitations and constrictions. At the core of your being, you are totally free. Always. Now, in a moment, when we come out of the meditation, we will, of course, resume our daily lives, everything that we need to do. But every once in a while during the day, remind yourself that you are whole, you are free, you are a spiritual being having a temporary human experience. You are infinitely creative. If you remind yourself a few times during the day, slowly, surely, this innate wisdom will come back to the surface again. And it will start to serve you very well during your life. You start to feel much more connected with the spiritual side of you. Now you can let go of the mantra, so hum, and just rest. Just sit here for a moment. And then whenever it feels comfortable, you can slowly open your eyes. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Renee.
Great.
Wow. Wow.
A lot of people always say to me, "I want to come back." Now I understand.
And now I right? So
Right.
true. Wow, everybody is saying thank you. Thank you, Renee. That was really wonderful.
Thank you. I never get to receive. I was giving them. It's great to receive. It's great. I feel like it's falling into
Oh,
a trap. Yeah. Thank you. That was
everybody is saying thank you, Renee. That
Thank
everybody.
you.
And I
Thank you for
loved
the opportunity.
how you talked about, throughout the day, think of this and the infinite
Mhm.
possibilities.
Yeah, it's so
Yeah.
hard, right? I mean, we know, and this is what you teach, and at the core of our being, we are spiritual beings. We are free. Our soul is free. And you
Yeah.
both say that all the time. And for the mind, this is so hard and so difficult to comprehend. So in
Yeah.
order to do that, you need tools because we're so caught up in our day-to-day business that the mind isn't even aware of our spiritual side anymore most of the time. So you need to come back. You need to come back. And James, that's what you do with all your courses. Every course that you do is a different avenue, a different path to come
true.
back to your spiritual side. And it's
True.
amazing,
Yeah.
you
All different
know.
ways.
So it's so powerful. And Kelly, for you, the same thing. When you do all your readings, people are so much helped by it because you remind them of their spiritual
Yeah.
essence. That
I right. I think you're right, Renee. It reminds them that they are their souls, that that's their
Mhm,
inheritance, that their spirit. That's what it reminds them. It's not
mhm,
us. It's helping them. Like I always say, holding a mirror up to you. Just
Right.
reflection of yourself. That's all we
yeah,
really do.
Right. Wow. That's
yeah,
so
wonderful.
wonderful. That was just wonderful. Gosh, Renee, thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Renee. Thank you
Of
very
course.
much.
Thank you for
Gosh.
the opportunity. Thank you.
Oh my God. What a spiritual teacher, right?
Yes. And he does that. He's been doing it for years now, and has a
Wow.
men's support group with Deepak's people for years. Jeff is in that, so yeah, for
Mm,
years. You never know, Renee. It's the quiet ones.
he's the quiet one. That's so true. Oh my
We have a
gosh.
great guest coming up in a few weeks, few months. We have a Clint for grounding, the number one man about grounding, learning about ground.
From earthing.com for grounding. It's going to be incredible. I think that's January 17th
Yes, and we have
coming up.
Lynn
And
Probert, who's a
then
media.
January 3rd, we have Lynn, which
Yeah,
is going to be great. And next week, we're
next
going to
week.
be talking about, I've got it right here. Hold on. Okay, you ready? It is end of life, death and death doulas. End of life
Oh my God, that's right. I forgot all about that. We came up with
and
that.
death doulas. Yes.
That came up yesterday in a conversation I had with somebody.
Oh,
Wow.
I have a feeling it'll come up a lot this week.
End of
You
life
know,
is.
end of life doulas, and it'll be a great show next
Yeah.
week, and look so forward to that. And you still have so many great classes to take right now too in
Yes.
your school.
School's great. Yes. It's
Lots
wonderful.
of great classes here.
People
Oh my
meeting each
gosh.
other for a lifetime. A lifetime. I've had so many people write me and say, "Wow, I've met these people are just the same mindset." So thank you.
Yeah,
You're welcome. Yeah.
that's so true. Oh
Well,
my
thank you.
gosh.
Thanks, Renee. Thank you, everybody, for
Thanks
joining
everybody, and thank you,
us.
James.
Thank you, Kelly. And we'll see you.
You've been listening to Both Sides Now and Beyond, featuring spiritual medium and master teacher James Van Praagh and spiritual medium and psychotherapist Kelly White.
The James and Kellee Show.